From the banks of Dewey Lake, it's the Dewey Pod Monster.
Welcome back. My name is John, and this is welcome to the I Heard Movies. We're about an hour and a half long podcast. We are, of course, proud members of the You Run Podcast Network. You can find all of our old episodes, all of our upcoming episodes, and all of the other great shows on the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. With me this week is the very enthusiastic host of the I Heard Movies Were an Hour and a Half Long podcast, and his name is Sean. And Sean, how are you doing today?
I have a Christmas wish, Santa. Get out of my life!
It's probably better considering the Santa. Oh, the dog just brought me a Santa. Anyway, ho, ho, ho. Sean, what have you been watching this week?
Ho, ho. Pick a movie, John. I got 3 things for you this week. I want a number. 1, 2, or 7.
8.
All right. So let's start with number 8. I watched 3 things this week, and I'm going to start with number 8. And I think it's something I'm hoping you finished as well as I did. The Chair Company. Did you end up finishing The Chair Company?
I think I have 2 episodes left. So I haven't finished,
John.
but go ahead.
John. I wanted
you're
to
gonna
know.
like my week. I've been on like documentary kick all week, but go ahead.
Nice, because I don't have any documentaries in my list this week for once. So I watched The Chair Company.
We changed chairs. I'm in the documentary chair and you're in the bullshit chair.
We went to The Chair Company. Actually, I don't know how much this is bullshit. Some of this was okay. The Chair Company, the Tim Robinson show, the HBO Max show. Finished it. I liked it. I don't want to talk about it until you finished it because I want to know your opinion on the ending of the season.
I will have that homework done by next week. I will say I really like the dude with the dent in his head.
Yes.
And I hope he comes back, which where I'm at right now, he hasn't come back.
I won't spoil it for you. So pick another number.
14.
Convincing. 14. So I watched a movie. I believe it's from 1988. Don't quote me on the year, but it's called Crawlspace. And I've seen several movies about people who live in crawl spaces. I've seen Bad Ronald. I saw that other Crawlspace movie. I think there is another movie just called Crawlspace. And this one is starring Klaus Kinski. And he's a creepy landlord who crawls through the HVAC ducts in the apartment building that he owns or whatever. And he starts, well, he doesn't start, but he's been killing his tenants in torturous ways. This movie, it's not good for sure. But this movie, the reason I wanted to watch this, the director, a few years after this movie was made and completed, made a short film called Please Kill Mr. Kinski. And the movie is basically about how the director found it so difficult and the actors, but it's just the director kind of doing a monologue about how difficult it was to work with Klaus Kinski. And one of the producers or something of the movie Crawlspace was like, do you want me to just have him killed? Like, do you just want to kill him for the insurance money? Because they wrote the movie specifically for Klaus Kinski before I think realizing how difficult he would be to work with. So the movie wasn't great, but I felt like I needed that completionism because I had already seen Please Kill Mr. Kinski. And it wasn't great. It's basically like, it's kind of like a thriller. It's a horror thriller kind of movie. It's suspenseful, kind of. I don't really want to give it away. I mean, it's not really that great of a movie, so I wouldn't recommend watching it unless you're just like a masochist and you're just hating yourself or you're just bored. Like I watched it on a Saturday morning. I was just so bored. I woke up and I was like, I kind of want to watch this.
I've never seen, at least not in somewhere that comes to mind, Adolf Hitler with a credit as himself for archive footage in a movie, and it's in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but Klaus Kinski's German in the movie, and his father was a Nazi doctor. Yeah, I know. His father was a Nazi doctor, and he was a doctor at some point, so I won't really get much more into it. If you're interested, we'll leave it linked in the show notes. The last thing I'm going to talk about, because I don't need you to pick a number, because it's the last thing I talked about, or that I watched at least. Have you ever seen the movie
69.
My Own Private Idaho? I guess that's kind of fitting.
No.
You've never seen the movie? So it's a Gus Van Sant movie from, I want to say that's late 80s, early 90s. It's like a Hallmark film for like the LGBTQ community. Gus Van Sant directed, if I didn't already say that. River Phoenix is in it. Keanu Reeves is in it. And River Phoenix plays this kind of hustler prostitute who has narcolepsy, and he'll be just in the middle of something and he'll just kind of have a seizure and fall asleep. Yeah.
What kind of prostitute that has narcolepsy? You said something prostitute that has narcolepsy. What was the first adjective?
A hustler?
Okay. That's an interesting affliction to have with that line of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever he passes out, he has these visions of his mother, like his mother that kind of he has lost track of. And he runs into Keanu Reeves. It's got comedic elements for sure. It's kind of like a retelling of a couple Shakespeare plays that have been kind of modernized. And Keanu Reeves plays a character he's the son of the mayor. This is all supposed to start off taking place in Portland, Oregon. And his dad is the mayor of Portland, but he's like kind of like the same thing. He's going to retire from prostitution at 21. That's Keanu Reeves' like big thing. And he knows River Phoenix, and they start to form this bond. They're friends, and he starts to try and help him on this quest to find out what happened to his mother. It takes them to Idaho. It takes them across the globe. It's a globe-trotting adventure, and it relates to, they have this street mentor because they're like street kids. Their mentor is this guy, Bob, and he's this like, I don't know, they call him the Fat Man, Fat Bob, all this stuff. And he's this other, it's like a band of street kids and hustlers and prostitutes and all these things that kind of run around together, and they have these misadventures. I really like the movie. I haven't seen it in quite a while. I've seen it. This is like probably the third or fourth time I've seen it. And I saw it, I don't know, at least like 30 years ago. And then I saw it. I liked it when I saw it 30 years ago. And then when I saw it again sometime like probably 15 years ago, I was like, I don't know if I like it as much. Maybe I was just young and didn't really understand. Like, I didn't remember a lot of the things when I watched it this time. I didn't remember like certain elements of the story, but I actually, this time around watching it again, I kind of really liked it again, which is interesting. Sometimes when you see it that first time and you really like it, and you see it later, like several years later, and you're like, and then you never give it a chance again. This was a movie that I gave a chance again, just on a whim. Like, I was looking on YouTube at different like old music videos and stuff. And I think the B-52 song, the title is a play on that song title. Yeah, obviously they're both called My Own Private Idaho, but I ended up just like, I wonder where I can find that to watch it. And I found it on like DailyMotion. I just streamed it and watched it all like pretty much in one night. It's about an hour and 40 minutes or so. So yeah, I would recommend that one. So those are the three things I got to watch. John, what did you watch this week? Tell me about your documentaries.
Let's see. Do you want me to start with the newest, or like, is there any discernible order you want me to go in with these?
Middle, newest, oldest.
Middle, newest, oldest. Okay.
You watched three things, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Middle, newest, oldest.
So middle is going to be the documentary Class Action Park. It came out in 2020, and it is about Action Park, which was a theme park in New Jersey for roughly probably about 2 decades or so. Before it finally collapsed upon itself. Follows the story of Action Park, which is either the best run theme park or the worst run theme park in the history of theme parks. I'm not really sure which. It kind of talks about Eugene Mulvihill. I might have mispronounced that. It's been a couple days since I've watched this, so I apologize. And essentially his Death Trap Park, which is all just great. It talks about some of the ways he would test rides. Like, he would, like, for example, they start by talking about this slide that basically is just like a big loop where the person is supposed to go down the water slide through this loop and get shot out on the other end. Sounds simple enough, especially if you watch enough Looney Tunes cartoons, but in practice, physics don't really work that way. And it's really funny hearing them talk about what you get a bunch of park employees that show up on this documentary. Have you seen this, by the way? This was an HBO doc, so I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen this before.
I've seen it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You get a bunch of like really entertaining stories from some of the park workers where they basically talk about like having teeth bashed out. Concussions are a pretty common thing. Some of the rides that are in here have really good names. Like, they renamed the wave pool the grave pool after, I think, 3 people died in it. And there's 2 things that are really entertaining about this documentary that stick out. One, Gen X commentary, man. Like it's all these people that are, give or take within a few years of really both of us, depending on which side of it you want to look at. And they're just so like, this is the worst fucking idea, but I fucking loved it and I would do it again. Like just really like, you can tell these guys listen to a lot of Primus and eat a lot of like food out of 7-Eleven, like chili dispensers, like those kinds of people. And that's not a bad way to go. And just the idea and like talking about these people who are reliving some of the stuff that happened in this park. I've been familiar with the story of Action Park for quite a while. I did not ever see the movie about like the fictionalized movie about it.
Is that Adventureland?
It's called Action Point, I think. It's got
okay.
Knoxville playing like a very loosely based version of Mulva Hill, but I assume that it's bad. Usually if he's starring in a movie and it doesn't say Jackass on it, it's generally borderline unwatchable unless he's like a bit role. But aside from that, just like the idea and like it, I think they said like 6 or 7 people died over the course of the time that this park was open. They give a count at the end of it, and I might be like greatly misquoting that, but the idea that okay, maybe one person dies and not to minimize it, but maybe that's a mulligan. Like it could be a freak thing or you fix it or whatever. When you start getting into multiple people that have died and like nothing happens, it's amazing that this park was allowed to operate as long as it did.
I mean, people have died at Disney World and Disneyland and all that stuff.
Oh, sure.
So,
but not under the same circumstances.
Yeah, not
like,
from
it's one thing if you have a heart attack on
injuries.
Space Mountain. It's another thing if you're trampled and drowned in a wave pool that's overfilled with people and like under supervised by stone teenagers. Slight different situation.
A little bit. I mean, people
Do you
have
have
been
any thoughts
crushed
on that
between
one?
walls and stuff at Disney World. So
Yeah, shit happens. People gotta die.
Yeah.
Memories on Action Park, Class Action Park, or not so much. I know you said. I'm guessing it could have been 5 years since you've seen it. I wouldn't be.
Yeah,
shocked.
I saw it when it first came out, and I remember reading articles online about the park before the documentary came out. So, yeah, I mean, I remember the loop-de-loop and a lot of really fun but very dangerous rides. It makes me think like locally we had, we had a Four Bears Water Park, which wasn't quite as nuts as this sounds, but it sounds kind of reminiscent of something like that. Again, not as many bodily injuries and stuff at Four Bears, but similar.
I remember, I think it was in Ohio. I think it was called Kings Island or something like that too, which also had a lot of dumbass.
Kings Island's still around.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Six Flags property.
Just remember having no desire to go there as a child and being miserable when my parents took me there and then never going back. I just assume it's a death trap now because of Action Park.
Some people think it's better right now than Cedar Point. It's had like a bit of a comeuppance.
I'm the wrong person to judge that either way. Then you said newest or you said oldest after that?
Newest. I want to hear oldest last.
Okay.
Don't rewind this and listen back to what I said. Listen to what I'm saying now.
I don't have the option to do that at the moment, so that's fine. I was actually really looking forward to the documentary on Martin Scorsese that came out. It was on Apple TV. It came out a month or two ago and finally got basically a day where I got to work from home, which means I got to sit around and watch TV all day. So I cranked out all 5 episodes of that in one afternoon.
Cranked out.
Yeah, that's right. Proper wording. Really, really well done documentary for the most part. What it does right is, well, let me rephrase that. The first episode does a lot about his like childhood and his very, very early like student films and stuff like that. You don't get into, aside from a mention here and there, you don't really get into any of the movies that you want to hear about if you're watching a 5-hour documentary on Martin Scorsese. You get those primarily in episodes 2, 3, and 4. They talk about the other movies that came out around this time, but episode 2 is primarily the Taxi Driver episode, which, I mean, that's hugely awesome movie to hear him talk about. Episode 3 is primarily the Goodfellas episode, and there's a lot of other stuff in there too, but that's like the main point in that. And then episode 4 is mostly Casino, and it kind of wraps up with, if I'm remembering right, it wraps up with The Departed and him finally winning an Oscar. And then the last episode, episode 5, basically kind of crams everything after that in about 45 minutes. So you get Flowers of the Killer Moon, The Irishman. What's the one that he did? Wolf of Wall Street. And another one that just came out too in the last year or so that they just barely touch on with it, which, I mean, I guess that's fine. Like, I would like to hear more about, The Departed. I would have liked to, there's movies that you can go, like, he's got like 100 movies under his belt or 100 directing credits under his belt. And I do think he's a prolific of enough director that, like, you could make a 5-hour documentary just on Taxi Driver. If he's talking about it, I'm going to listen. So I guess you almost wonder, like, is there an extended cut of this that's like 10 days long or some shit? Like, I don't know. But I really liked it. It's really well shot. It's got a really great bit with his mom complaining about how all the shit he put her through as an actor, because she's in a bunch of his movies, especially the older movies. She's in a bunch of them, and she's like, I can't imitate her, but imagine a older Italian woman like, you woke me up at 4 a.m. to make you a bunch of pasta and spaghetti and stuff, and then you fed it to Joe Pesci. And it was like just really good, like, mom bickering, I guess, that you can't fake that. It kind of is, and it's great. He's pretty relatable. He admits to a lot of his shortcomings throughout his life, which is good, I suppose. And he might admit to him, but he never like really apologizes for him. Like, he's never like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have gone on a cocaine binge for the entire like decade there and like ended up with all these problems. He's like, I learned from it. That's all he really says. I'm like, I like this. He's not denying it, but he's also not apologizing for it. That's kind of a good blend there. I'd highly recommend it if you like Scorsese. Even if you just like really like filmmaking, he's the kind of director that I think deserves this kind of spotlight on him. I mean, if it wasn't for them being, dead, it would have been cool to get one from guys like Kubrick, or maybe if they do one with Carpenter before he's gone, that type of thing. I don't know if they're doing it anymore, but I really enjoyed this, and I thought they did a really good job with it, trying to keep it as compact as you can for a guy who has like endless amount of shit under his belt. Because when you watch this and then you go look at his like IMDb list, the guy's really been working since like the 60s. Like, he's just continuously put out stuff. Obviously, not everything is going to be Goodfellas and Taxi Driver. There's some, downs in there too. But he's got a pretty amazing list of work. And just seeing how he describes his changes and watching it all kind of strung out like that, it's cool seeing him evolve as a filmmaker. So, highly recommend that. The only other thing I really watched that's worth talking about this week is Project Grizzly, which came out in 1996. And I'm assuming that you saw this too, because this seems like the kind of thing that you would watch.
This is right up my alley, yeah. Troy Hurtubise.
Yeah, so I'm not going to remember names. So if you remember them, all the better. You can pepper that in wherever you want. But this is the copy I watch is amazing because there is a VHS like trailer reel on this for some real amazing looking crap. Like, I almost took notes like, we should probably cover this shit. It's not good. Like, it's kind of like what we've been doing for the last month type of shit, like really bad shit. So that was great. But this documentary is worth watching, if nothing else, for 2 reasons. One, all the tests they do, basically the premise is this guy has an encounter with a bear. He's like the mall goth version of a Canadian. He's got the stupid like 90s haircut, the zigzags cut in, and a trench coat. And he decides that he's going to make a bear-proof suit, essentially. Not quite sure what the end goal is other than to be bear-proof, but that's what he's doing. And throughout the course of this hour and 20 minutes or so, you get to see this guy hit with numerous logs from numerous heights at numerous like amounts of force, knocking him clear on his ass, which is great. You can see him shot with an arrow. Basically, they're testing this. Oh, he gets run over with a pickup truck a few times. That was really entertaining. And I will forever laugh my ass off anytime I see a helicopter airdropping this bear suit anywhere. It's just, I don't know if I want to call it stupid or just like 1996 in Canadian ingenuity, but I was thoroughly amused by this video. And I think, spoilers for this almost 30-year-old documentary about a Canadian guy making a bear suit. I love when they're like finally out in the woods trying to test the bear suit, and a bear shows up and they're like, oh, we can't test the bear suit because it's like 10 miles away, and if we bring it in by helicopter, we'll scare off the bear, and there's no terrain here, so I'm just going to fall over or no flat terrain, so I'm just going to fall over anyway. So I like that they made this documentary with the purpose of testing it with a bear. And then when the bear shows up, it fucks up everything.
Yeah.
Any memories on Project Grizzly?
Oh yeah, I mean Troy Hurtubise is a legend. He creates the
I would
bear.
agree with that.
Creates the bear. The movie's more about like him creating the new version of the suit, though, right? And he goes into like kind of how he's made it. It's got like spider silk and all this crazy shit. That's like
it looks like an overgrown Lego guy, but it's got like chainmail and he went through all the stuff that's on. It's like
and there's
like a layer of plexiglass and like titanium and chainmail and all kinds of other shit. He's like, it only weighs 156 pounds to wear or something like that. Like, yeah, it sounds lovely.
He looks like a mech by the end of it. I mean, it looks it's ridiculous. But he's passed in 2018 from a car accident. So we don't have Troy Hurtubise. No, I don't think he ever actually got to test the suit with a bear. And I think he was actually developing some kind of alternative to Kevlar for like bulletproof vests and things. And I think he was using some kind of spider silk for that too. Yeah.
Sounds on brand.
It's a really interesting doc. It's like the big headline is all the testing with like the bikers hitting him with pool cues and the logs hitting him and the cars crashing into him and him getting like tossed down this really steep hill and all the test footage of him just getting whacked by all this shit. Yeah. But that's the headline, but I think the surrounding story about the guy's like certifiably crazy. But I feel the story surrounding like how he's creating the suit is actually also very interesting.
It is, and it's
doc of mine.
It's one of those interesting that feels a little bit like, is this mad scientist interesting or is this like just crazy dude? Either way, it's pretty good. And
I think he's developing the suit to research bears or something, so he can get kind of like the Grizzly man kind of dude who's going to live with the Grizzlies and they kill him. Spoiler alert for the Werner Herzog movie, but he's trying to develop something to be able to observe bears in the wild because I feel like they're kind of like untapped thing. Like we still really don't know all that much about bears because no one can like live close enough to them without being attacked. And I think that was the premise of him creating this suit.
Which almost could lead to a whole new like fun documentary if he's just sitting there in this like overgrown Lego costume watching bears and occasionally they just walk by and like fuck him up and then he just stands back up and watches them. I would watch that.
There you go.
But that's all I got. So I think it's time we're going to take a break. We're going to get festive and merry and come back and talk about another fucking Christmas movie. This one's called Santa with Muscles. Hey, John here. We recently conducted a survey of 500 senior citizens, and 499 of them said they would rather listen to any podcast other than the Dewey Pod Monster. We're here today to talk to the one. This is Crazy Balls Johnson. Crazy Balls, what do you like about the Dewey Pod Monster podcast?
I love that you guys are always balls to the wall, living life on the edge, talking about bullshit movies that everyone else hates. But I eat that shit up like a pig in slop.
You heard it here, folks. You can eat that shit up like a pig in slop, too, along with all the other fine podcasts at yourunpodcast.com. All right, so we are back, and begrudgingly, we are going to talk about the movie Santa with Muscles. I guess this is what happens when somehow Ernest makes his way to the fucking show, is now Hulk has to come back. Be like, oh, you thought that was a fucking movie? Well, here comes Santa with Muscles. Like every movie, we're going to start with our third-party review, and this one is, again, from an anonymous person. Put your name on this, people. It makes it more fun. This person says, best movie about saving orphans from mad scientists that want magic crystals in an ancient catacomb under their orphanage. Also, it has Hulk Hogan. 5 out of 5 stars.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
No, brother. Just hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
So, Sean, what is this movie about?
Fat City, brother. So for that, we go over to IMDb and we look up the title Santa with Muscles, and it brings up a 1996 movie. This gets a PG rating. It's an hour and 37 minutes, which fits the motif of this show. Actually goes over 7 minutes, right? Because this show is about movies that are an hour and a half. And it gets a 2.6 out of 10 with 9.9 thousand ratings. So 9,900 ratings. I will say that
we'll call it 10,000 to be be.
This 2.6 should put this squarely in the bottom 100 of IMDb, but for some reason it's not listed in the bottom 100. And we'll go to the storyline and the plot. We're never quite sure which is which, but we're going to read the one on top because they wouldn't put it on top if it wasn't supposed to be read first. It says, a heartless millionaire believes he is Santa Claus after an accident renders him amnesiac. Okay.
Sure.
Is that like amnesiac? Is that how you would use that in that sentence? Anyways,
I don't think it is. And I wondered that when I looked at this earlier. And while you continue to talk, I'm going to look it up now just to be sure.
Okay, cool. So we scroll on down to the storyline. This one's kind of long, and it comes care of Oscar Serpa. And Oscar says, and I apologize in advance, it says, the haughty self-made millionaire Blake Thorne, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan, sells bodybuilding gear and supplements bearing his image. He is singled out by the police one day after playing paintball carelessly. After being pursued to a mall, he disguises himself by dressing as Santa. He suffers from amnesia after he bangs his head after sliding down a garbage chute to elude the police. Blake starts to believe he is Santa Claus after Lenny misidentifies him as the mall Santa. Abner Frost, an evil scientist, sends his goons to destroy an orphanage after attempting to take control of it in order to obtain the magic crystals beneath. Blake saves the children, though, after realizing that Santa has improved him and that Frost intends to demolish the same orphanage where he was raised. This movie, this is all full of fucking spoilers. Spoilers galore. I'm not going to talk about any more of what Oscar Serpa says. He just ruined the movie for us. In case you were going to go back and watch this movie from 1996.
I'm still not sure that they're using the word amnesiac correct. It's correct in the affliction. So amnesiac is defined as a person experiencing a partial or total loss of memory, or experiencing or relating to a partial or total loss of memory, or a studio album released by Radiohead in 2001. One of my favorite albums of theirs, but that's a different conversation for a different day. The way they say it here, it just sounds weird, but you know what? There's a lot of weird shit.
He's suffering from amnesia
him as
or something.
Yeah, that sounds better. Or renders him an amnesiac. I don't know.
There you go.
It sounds weird. So
Welcome
who is this amnesiac that we're talking about? Who's in this movie? Who plays the amnesiac?
All right, so we actually have quite a bit of cast that I'm only going to go over the people that I recognize. I know there are some other people that have
There's only one person
several credits.
And it's not Hulk Hogan that we should give a shit about in this movie.
All right, so I'm going to run it down, and when I get to the bottom, I think near the bottom is going to be who you're talking about, but you tell me. So we have Hulk Hogan.
Actually, I have two now that I'm looking at it again, but go ahead.
Real nice. So, we have Hulk Hogan, who plays Blake Thorne. I mean, come on. He's the WWE, WCW champ, but we talked about him in No Holds Barred and the movie The Ultimate Weapon. He's, an icon of professional wrestling. He's passed by now, but Hulk Hogan, you should know who he is. We have Don Stark, who plays Lenny the Elf. He is from that 70s show. He was Donna's dad, and he's been in a ton of shit. We have Garrett Morris, who plays Clayton. We talked about him in The Stuff as Chocolate Chip Charlie. He was an original member of the SNL cast. We have Adam Wiley, who plays Taylor. He's a child actor who nowadays is mostly a voice actor, but he was Sammy in Child's Play 2. He was in Kindergarten Cop, and he was the kid in the Seinfeld episode, The Parking Garage. We have Mila Kunis. This is her first starring role. She plays Sarah. She's obviously from that 70s show. She was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Black Swan, American Psycho 2, etc., etc. We have Clint Howard, who plays Hinckley. And if you don't know who Clint Howard is, I don't even know how you found this show, but he's that guy. And then we have Ed Begley Jr., who plays Edmund Frost.
Sucks.
Yes. We have Ed Begley Jr. He's from A Mighty Wind, Pineapple Express, Young Sheldon, and about 341 other roles. So he's got the most IMDb credits on a page that I've ever seen. And it's like 343 or 345 or some ridiculous amount of credits on IMDb. And I can say with almost complete authority that absolutely nothing that he's been in has been good. That's my hot take on Ed Begley Jr. Hot take.
Now you got me curious. Gonna totally derail the show to look at Ed. You know what? Fuck him. Yeah, I thought Chocolate Chip Charlie was coming to save this movie, and then I kept watching, and well, we're gonna get into it. So we're gonna just put it out there.
So
this again,
long pause,
is This is also a children's movie, much like the last movie. So it's going to be kind of hard to be too mean to this movie. But I don't know about you. Maybe this is a post-Ernest, like didn't brush my teeth enough type of response. I'm kind of grumpy about this one. So
You're grumpy about this one because why? Use your words.
Because I was still kind of grumpy about Ernest. So
can I ask you a question?
I didn't have a palate cleanser. You just shat in my mouth. Well, not you, but this movie just shat in my mouth first. Yeah, someone did. For a second week in a row. And here we are. And I don't know that it's going to get any better next week. But you said you have a question, so go for it.
I have a question for you. We've kind of broken down the story based on what Oscar spoiled for us. Would you say just off the bat, without giving any kind of numerical value or whatever, recommendation, unrecommendation, whatever, for you, which is the better movie? Ernest Saves Christmas or Santa with Muscles?
Geez. How long was Ernest?
An hour and 30 minutes.
Then I'm going to say Ernest Saves Christmas because it's 7 minutes short.
Really? Okay.
But not by much. And like I said, you might be able to change my mind by the end of this episode. So
I don't know about that. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I think my opinion is that this movie is leaps and bounds better than Ernest Saves Christmas. Because
really?
Yeah, because the style of humor, like this is a kids movie, and so is Ernest. They're both kids movies, but the style of humor
both suck.
They both suck, but the style of humor that Ernest uses is like intelligence insultingly bad, and it's like very pandering. It's very pandering towards young people. Like an adult would never watch Ernest, and I mean any like fully minded individual would watch the Ernest movie and be like, ha, ha, ha. Whereas I think that Santa with Muscles, the humor's a little bit more adolescent and not quite as juvenile as what, like, there's no, this guy made a, there, no, let me take that back. There's not as much, this guy made a face, and that's why it's funny. Whereas Ernest is like, that guy made a funny face, he made a funny voice. So that's what makes this movie funny. Where Santa with Muscles is like, it's not great, but the story, there's a story to it. Hulk Hogan is like somewhat charismatic in his wooden kind of acting way. And yeah, the villains, they all suck. They're all kind of stupid and petty and not funny. That's where the slapsticky parts come in. But I feel like Ernest relies too much on slapstick humor that doesn't hit. And this relies a little bit more on some kind of verbal jabs and a little bit of physicality and slapstickiness.
I could see that, and you're not wrong. There are a couple things that are funnier in this, and like if Ernest has the scene with the snake handler guy, that's like the high point of that movie. There's maybe one or two things that you could point at and laugh at in this for one thing or another. I do think that it's terrible as this is. Ernest tells a little bit better of a story. It tells a more cohesive story where you, not by much, but barely. Like we'll just go right into it because why not? This movie like introduces you to Hulk Hogan as whatever this fucking guy is, Blake Thorne, as his character from The Ultimate Weapon, except for some reason he's like, you think he's on the roof like being an army commando guy, and then it turns out he's just like, I don't know, running
like war
drills
gaming
with
it
his
or something.
Staff
with his staff.
Yeah. You find out roughly like 30-40 minutes into the movie that Blake Thorne is actually some millionaire because he sells like protein shakes or some shit, which honestly has like almost no bearing on the movie, but it also like, it never really gives you direction as to why this character's here, why any of this shit is happening, why fucking Donna's dad from that 70s show thinks this is a good man to rob or attempt to rob at shit. Like it's very fucking stupid. And not that I need like a cohesive story for a movie to be good. Like I can do without that in some movies, but this movie is just left me saying, what the fuck is going on in this movie? More often than not, and not in a way that I'm like, okay, this is dumb and I don't know what's going on, but I'm also moderately entertained by the beer keg supercomputer that's going to murder the entire world, or the Irish grocery store fight, or whatever other bad movie. I don't have an Ernest comparison for this, but
because Ernest is no good.
Well, you know,
he's up to no
my
good.
point is like the story that's in here is so like shit. At least with the Ernest story, it's shit, but it kind of gets to the point kind of quickly, and it feels more like a Christmas story. This feels like a Power Rangers story with Christmas paint on it.
I totally disagree.
Okay, that's fair.
This movie is A to B, like the Blake Thorne piece. He is, we've already said, he's like a Robert Irvine. He's like a celebrity chef person,
Sure.
but he's more like a fitness nut kind of guy. And
Sure.
he, this has so much Christmas story bullshit behind it. It tells a more cohesive story in that respect than Ernest does, because Ernest has, this is, I can't believe we're even discussing this seriously, but Ernest is like, that's right.
Ernest versus Santa with muscles.
There you go.
This is the dumbest debate that we will ever have on this fucking. You know what? Let's bring Art in. Is Art like a better Christmas icon than fucking Hulk Hogan and Ernest?
He's definitely better
more
than
entertained
Ernest.
by Art.
Yeah, I have to agree, and I hate Art, and I thought he was more entertaining. But like Ernest has all that side story bullshit that you can just be like wave it away with, like you said last week. All Santa had to do was shake Joe Carruthers' hand. That's what it seems like, and all this could have been avoided. He still had the
I'm
fucking
amazed that you remember Joe Carruthers' name.
He was so scary. He was like Art the Clown level scary. He gets the reindeer shipped in, all that stupid bullshit. Hulk Hogan is playing. This is the stupidest part, is that he's playing paintball with his staff, and he shoots like he's running from the cops. He's running from the cops. He puts a Santa suit on. He falls down a garbage chute. He gets knocked out. He loses his memory. Lenny the elf, played by whatever, Don from whatever we said his name is, something Stark, Don Stark. He starts digging through the guy's wallet, and then he recognizes, oh, this is Blake Thorne. He's a millionaire. Lenny then keeps his identity from him so that he can try to go to an ATM or whatever and withdraw a bunch of money in his name. And in the meantime, Hulk Hogan realizes, like, when he finally learns about who he is, he realizes, oh, I was not a nice guy. Like the Ebenezer Scrooge kind of thing. I wasn't a nice guy. I'm going to help these people out. So it's got a little bit more of a Christmas story element without having an actual Santa Claus than we have in Ernest, where Ernest has Santa Claus, and Ernest he could be no part of this movie and it would be a better situation for Santa and everybody involved. Whereas Blake Thorne is like, he has to be the Santa. He has to see the error in his ways, see that he was a bad guy before he lost his memory and realized, oh, I was an orphan, because spoilers, Blake Thorne was one of the kids in the orphanage years and years and years ago. And he got adopted by a rich family, and, he got all the benefits of the blue blood adoption that he got.
He was one of the 3 kids that weren't the leftovers.
Well, yeah, he was adopted 20 years before, at least 30 years.
One thing I will say that I found to be pretty funny in this movie that has nothing to do with Clint Howard or with Chocolate Chip Charlie. I think it's pretty funny that we go through all these shenanigans and all this bullshit through the whole movie, and Hulk's like, oh, I've seen the error of my ways, brother. I'm going to save these little bastards. And in the process, poltergeist the house, which we haven't even really talked about that, but the house, disappears.
Yeah.
Must have been buried, goes away. And we've already established at this point that Hulk Hogan is by himself a very well-off millionaire person, big house, yada, yada. And instead of just inviting these, I guess it'd be 5 people that are left in this orphanage. There's Chocolate Chip Charlie, the lady, and the 3, Mila Kunis, and the other 2 bastards.
Yeah.
The kid with the fire extinguisher and the girl who writes too much. Couldn't you just let them stay in your mansion as opposed to the person who you just murdered in the poltergeist house, whose home is likely going to be willed to a person who, has rights to it, as opposed to I'm just going to move these fucking orphanage kids into the bad guy's house at the end of the movie. I think that was funny.
Yeah, I'd agree. But Ebner Frost doesn't die. Nobody dies.
Doesn't he die?
No.
I thought he died in the poltergeist thing.
No.
No? He should die.
He got arrested.
Yeah, he's dead.
We'll just break.
Not
that it's
shivved
important
in the first minute that he got in that police truck.
It's that
He's
lisp.
dead.
They were like, I can't stand it. So the whole thing
Shows you how much
the
I like
orphanage,
this movie. The bad guy doesn't even die, and I'm like, hey, he's dead.
the orphanage is on top of these catacombs that have these crystals that have electricity stored in them or something, and some kind of pent up electrical storm happens in the catacomb, and it collapses the entire orphanage, church, cathedral thing into the earth. And that's like that. The Ebner Frost's whole thing is he wants the land that the church is on because it has this extremely valuable crystal underneath, and nobody knows until Hulk Hogan somehow remembers this ancient as far as like 30 years in the past. There was a combination on the vault door that kept them out. So, yeah. All right. So can we get into likes and dislikes? Because we've been.
I just did
going on. Those were all your likes? That's how funny you thought it was? Okay. Do you have any more?
I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, okay.
I like that the crystals that combust when they're dropped gently on the ground are also used as essentially a lightsaber. I thought that was kind of funny. So.
Banging them together would have no effect, clearly.
No ill effect, for sure.
Yeah, they wouldn't blow up or anything.
So I found that to be good. Clinton Howard, he's entertaining for what he is in here. He kind of gives off like Rent-A-Cop vibes. And even though he's, I think, supposed to be an actual cop, as far as useless like cop roles go, he's more memorable than Hulk Hogan is in this movie. And what do you got? Is there anything you like in this movie?
Can I give you a fun fact?
Yeah, go for it.
You mentioned Wolf of Wall Street. Did you know?
Yeah.
Did you knew?
He's what's
Jordan
his face?
Belfort.
He's
is an executive producer on this movie. Yeah. So that's a nice little. If we were comedians, we'd be bringing the house down. I have a few likes. I have that the opening of this movie. There's the Christmas tree gets dragged off of the every time the orphanage gets something nice like the statue or the Christmas tree. The bad guys like haul it. They drag it off with chains and they're like, "Fuck you! This is ours. We're gonna own this shit." I thought that was funny. And then Hulk Hogan's like fighting off. In the first 5 minutes, he's like fighting his staff with weapons. You don't really understand like why it's going on, but it's just like his training, his exercise for the day.
There are vocal cues in that scene. I was like, I hope this whole movie is like this bullshit where they're just overacting the shit out of it, but doesn't go quite that good.
I love the rug. I love Hulk Hogan's rug. It's the same one that we saw on The Ultimate Weapon, but I feel like it looks a little bit better in this one for whatever reason. Maybe, and this became before The Ultimate Weapon, which is the other Hulk Hogan movie that's not No Holds Barred.
It thinned out between the two straight-to-video releases.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that happens. I feel like at least in this movie, they give Hulk Hogan a reason. They give the Blake Thorne character a reason that he could beat people up. Like he beats up a few people in this movie, but there's a reason for it because he does all that training with his staff. He's like he's into fighting. So I appreciate that they gave him at least a little bit of a backstory. Not that he was just a super like muscly guy who ends up being a Santa Claus. It's not so far fetched. They give a little bit of a backstory to kind of tie it together. This is certainly less dumb than Ernest Saves Christmas. At least
I don't know if I agree with that. But
oh, really?
It's just a different flavor of dumb.
Yeah, but I feel like this is less dumb. Ernest was like so super stupid, whereas this is like stupid, but it's just, I already said my piece on it. I just feel like this is a little bit more entertaining, and I like that. This is a like-dislike. Ed Leslie, a.k.a. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, shows up because this is a Hulk Hogan movie, and, if Hulk Hogan's somewhere, Ed Leslie around this time had to be with him. The extreme Asian stereotype that he plays is just for no reason. There's no reason. He has like an Asian accent and he has the long Fu Manchu. I find that amusing that there's no reason for him to be in this at all. And I like that Santa, aka Hulk, and the rest of the kids, the leftovers, and the people running the orphanage just have such a great time seeing the misfortune of the bad guys get put in jail and get captured and all the bad things, that they just have such a ball with it. It's so, I don't know, like, it's just so evil that Santa and the friends would be so like, they're so for Christmas and so for family and all this stuff, but they just have such a good time, like a genuine good time watching the bad guys, the guy who sniffs his own farts, and the Ebner Frost, aka low rent Mr. Freeze. Like they just have such a good time with him getting their just desserts. You know, I thought that was fun too.
I did find it kind of funny that Hulk enlists these children to go help him assault a bunch of seemingly criminals at the end of the movie. That seems like a good way to take care of these kids, is to have them go directly and fight adults that are trying to do them harm, to put it lightly. I guess all they really want to do is get them out of the orphanage and, you know, buy that or take that plot of land. But, you know, they're using T-squares as weapons and stuff. I don't know what's
like they're edged weapons.
Yeah, it's very dumb. Yeah, you know, I thought you might jog my memory on something I like more, and I'm looking at my notes, and I really don't. I think there's some like little things that are kind of comical. There's a scene near the beginning of the movie where Hulk is still pretty dazed from his bop to the head, and he gets in a fight with some dirtbags that I think are supposed to be punks in the mall. I really find it funny that one of them's wearing a shirt that just says anarchy, and the other one's wearing a Dare shirt. Now, I've seen plenty of dirtbags wearing Dare shirts for various, you know, reasons, like they got them at a thrift store and they were cheap. But I think that's really funny that that's how they chose to show misguided youth, is with a Dare shirt on. That's pretty much it on the positives. I mean, this is not one that I have a whole lot of like good stuff to say about it. I'll put it out there. I was borderline miserable watching this. I was annoyed with it. I kind of hated.
My work here is done.
I hated Hulk. I hated, again, Donna's dad even more. Lenny, the fucking dipshit elf. I would have loved Hulk to just like have an R-rated moment where he like annihilates him. That would have been great. Even the cameos from people that I do like in this movie, like Clint Howard, like Chocolate Chip Charlie. I keep calling him that because the stuff is great. You know, even when one of these characters pop up, they don't do enough to make me forget how much I'm miserable watching this fucking movie. So, you know, it's hard to be too mean to it because it is a kid's movie. It is obviously geared towards a different like type of humor. They're not going to come out there and, you know, have Hulk beat the brains out of Lenny, although I would think that'd be a pretty cool twist for a kid's movie. You know, sometimes when you watch a kid's movie, you're very, very aware of the fact that you're watching a kid's movie, and that's what this movie is. And it fucking annoyed me. So, yeah. How about you? What did you dislike about this?
I feel like the plot of it's kind of like the repurposing of A Christmas Carol to be, you know, the Mr. Scrooge. He's the guy that doesn't want to do anything nice for anybody, and he kind of sees the error of his ways and all that stuff is really cliche, and it's very tired, and it's not really, it's implemented fine, but it's just so overdone. That and the fact that he even loses his memory, which is like the lazy way to basically explain anything that you want, is like, oh, the main character doesn't know what he's doing because he lost his memory. Oh, shucks. Like that part of it is real fucking lazy.
It's a very Looney Tunes feeling.
It is. Yeah. Ed Begley Jr., as I mentioned earlier, has he ever been in a good movie? This is not like, he just always seems to show up and hack shit. Like he just shows up as hacky shit. Like, and he's a low rent Mr. Freeze. I already mentioned it earlier. And the other part is that I really dislike is that Hulk Hogan is this rich millionaire. Okay, fine, whatever. But the way that he basically just like he's running from the cops, you know, he's gotten in trouble with the law and he just outruns them and all this shit. If this was a real situation, he would just be murdered like on site by the cops.
Oh, yeah,
no questions asked, you know. So that annoyed
I do like
me
that they found it. I do like that they produced a bazooka to shoot at him. I don't think cops generally have that.
Well, nowadays maybe they do. They're all militarized and shit. But he's like, he just swerves out of the way, out of the rocket, and it blows up Clint Howard's car, and hilarious. So I don't really have a whole lot of dislikes, but I feel like it's because a lot of the time I felt kind of indifferent as to what was going on. I do have some likes about it, but some of it's just like, it's really kind of milquetoast. I don't think it deserves a 2.6. It doesn't deserve to be in the bottom 100 of IMDb. There's movies like reading Letterboxd reviews makes me realize that people don't know how bad the depths of bad movies can be, because, you know, you'll watch a movie that's like perfectly serviceable and they'll, the worst movie I've ever seen, 5 stars. You know, it's like, fuck you. Like, you've not seen.
Yeah, but then they can't get into Violent Nature's dick out of their mouth. until Longlegs comes out or something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I don't think this is a great movie, but I don't think it's like, I think Ernest, if I haven't said it enough, I feel it, and I'm going to say it in my conclusion, Ernest is a much worse movie. So I feel like the hockey stick is kind of starting to go up for, can't get any worse than this. You know, it's kind of, we've already seen the worst. It can't be much worse. I feel like we're moving up. That's long story short.
So while you were going through that, I've just been kind of going through Ed Begley Jr.'s IMDb. He's in Pineapple Express, which I enjoyed that movie.
I didn't like
He's
that.
in 2 episodes of Curb. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this. If it was longer than 4 minutes, although this sounds like the kind of wrong runtime I would like, I would say this sounds interesting. It's called Clint Howard Reboots Pippi Longstocking with Mia Jovovich and Fred Willard. That's the title of this short film.
It sounds pretty stupid and not in a good way.
I would give it a try. And I don't feel like going through any more of this. So
I would say of the 350 credits he has, he's probably had a fuck ton more misses than he's had hits. I would say he's probably batting 100.
Apparently, I can't stop scrolling through this, and I agree with you. I think 100 would be
generous.
It is generous. Yeah. So
he's batting. 15.015.
He was in Rugrats. So
I rest my case.
I really don't have a lot to say other than I fucking hate this movie. Do you want to fire up the grill?
Then you're in for a big treat, bro, because it's hot dog time.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and lead us off. I give Santa with Muscles a full hot dog. You should absolutely make yourself watch this movie. You should torture yourself with it. You should sit down, watch it on repeat, high volume, headphones, do the Clockwork Orange thing and keep your eyes peeled the entire time, because this movie will absolutely make you appreciate everything that Christmas has to offer.
I can't agree more. Let's do it.
Whose hot dog is this? Is it yours?
So I'll just start off by saying I didn't think we could get worse than Ernest Saves Christmas, and I feel like I've already said it. We've gotten a little bit better. Like it's a baby step up the ladder of bad movies. As with last week, this isn't a good movie, but it's only slightly more tolerable. It's definitely still a movie made for kids. We've said that multiple times, but I feel like there's actually things in this movie that are somewhat entertaining. Hulk himself is a little bit more charismatic than Ernest P. Worrell was last week. This is still sappy shit. Like that's not saying
what a fucking barometer. Ernest versus Hulk Hogan as far as who is more
charismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, this is still sappy shit. And I think if you have kids, this might be a good kind of off the beaten path style Christmas movie. But like these days, what little kids are going to know who the fuck Hulk Hogan is? So that really doesn't carry much cachet, regardless. I usually base my hot dog rating on if I'd recommend or if I'd watch this again. Like 0 hot dogs is like, I didn't like it. I wouldn't recommend it. Half a hot dog is like, I recommend it. 1 hot dog is like, I recommend it and I would watch it again. I've already seen this, so you didn't even ask, but I've seen this before. I'd give Santa Claus, I'd give Santa with Muscles half a hot dog just because I feel like it's not quite bad enough that you would hate yourself for watching it, but I feel like if you're looking, I know you do because you don't have any taste, but if you like totally hate yourself, maybe like I hate myself, you might watch this several times. I don't know. I wrote here in the final like part of my conclusion, if you don't have kids or don't hate yourself, I would say this is a 0 hot dog movie. So I already gave myself an out. If you hate yourself, watch this. I give it half a hot dog if you're a self-loather. If you don't hate yourself, 0 hot dogs. So you get a dual, your own early Christmas gift this year. I'm giving you two hot dog ratings.
It's terrible. All these fucking hot dogs, and we're wasting them on Ernest and Santa with Muscles. So.
I hope it gets better next week. That's all I can say.
I don't even know what we're doing next week, but I would say it can't get worse, but I know it can.
It can.
March is not far away.
It can get a lot worse than this. And March is going to be great.
Far away. So.
I'm so looking forward to Crummy Movie March.
I think it's the only month of the year that we both look forward to, honestly. So
we know what it is. We know it's going to be something
comical. So
it's going to be something.
It's going to be something. If you would like to follow us and learn about our other themed months that we do each year, you can do that on all the relevant social networks. We are at Dewey Podmonster on pretty much all of them except for Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town. That's where we have any polls that we might do, any clips that might come out, any feedback you want to give us. You can do it all there. You can also leave us feedback at our site, which is crap.town, just crap.town. You can go there. It's going to have all our episodes and an option to tell us like, hey, dipshits, stop watching children's Christmas movies. I came here for Art the Clown and you're sitting here with Santa with muscles. It's not even a fair fight. So you can do that there, or you can go to yourunpodcast.com. We are You Run Podcast Network members. We would appreciate if you went there, gave someone else a follow, checked out something new. And of course, if you want, you can find all of our old episodes and all of our upcoming episodes there as well. Also, last and certainly not least, we do have a movie night coming up. We're doing a Frankenstein's this month at Batch Brewing down in Corktown in Detroit. We're going to be showing Violent Night, which we have already covered, I want to say in 2023, I believe. Sean will probably link it in the notes if you'd like to listen to that. But come out, that is actually a fun movie. That actually has a good Santa that I like, who also has muscles. And he does things with those muscles that are more entertaining. So come watch that. It's a much better movie. Sean, what am I forgetting?
Well, I was going to say, if you want to listen or watch or hear about anything. What are you watching? What are we talking about?
Frankenstein's is on December 18th. Come out on December 18th to see Violent Night. Now, Sean, whatever you want to say.
Sean, talk. If you're interested in any of the things that we talked about today, like you want to listen to our podcast on Violent Night, if you want to hear about, or you want to watch, what am I talking about? If you want to watch My Own Private Idaho or whatever shit John watched, all the garbage he watched, you can do that. It's going to be linked in the show notes. And I don't think there's any other show in the known universe, in the multiverse, that links so many free movies and shows in their show notes than we do. Most of that stuff, I would say like 95% of the time, the stuff that we talk about and put in the show notes are free. You don't have to pay diddly shit to go watch it for free. It just costs your time. There are a few things, though, that may cost you a few bucks, and those will say Amazon after it, and those will be Amazon affiliate links. If you click those links, you buy something. It doesn't even have to be the movie that we're talking about. It could be pencils. It could be pens. It could be paper. It could be staples or paper clips or, I don't know, office supplies. You can go there, buy all that shit for your office. You go through our affiliate link. You buy all that shit. We get a small cut, a really small cut, but it helps the podcast and it helps, I don't know, put a few bucks in our pocket so we can pay for hosting and maybe get off Spotify. Other than that, if you want to see stupid, silly little clips, I post them on Blue Sky. I'm exclusively on Blue Sky. I signed a long-term exclusive contract with Blue Sky. That's the only social media network I can be on. And you can find me at internalbleeding.crap.town. And other than that, John, back to you. I'm all out of sorts.
Me too. It's been a weird day. So that's it. Swill up, butt horns, cheers. Fuck Hulk Hogan. Have a good week.
Bird season's over, butthorn.
I have a quiz. Oh, fuck. I have a quiz. That's the best intro ever. Okay, here we go. Let's do this again.
This whole week is off to a hell of a start.
Yeah,
let's go sniffle and like cough up some shit too.